You ever had that feeling? When the air turns thick around you, and it's like someone's watching you, even though you're alone? Yeah, I didn't believe in that kind of stuff either. Not until that night. It was about 2 years ago. I was on a solo backpacking trip, hitting offbeat destinations, chasing adrenaline more than sunsets. That's how I ended up in the outskirts of this small city in the hills. Locals whispered about this haunted cafe, Café Varnum, they called it. Once a lively, artsy hangout, it was shut down almost a decade ago after a string of unexplained incidents. Disappearances, psychotic breakdowns, and in one case, a waitress who vanished mid-shift. Never found, not even a trace. Naturally, being the idiot tourist looking for the real deal, I signed up for an unofficial evening tour with a bunch of other thrill seekers. The cafe was off limits after dark, but of course we pushed it, dared each other to step inside. We were all laughing, flashlights in hand, armed with bravado and ignorance. The building sat crumbling at the edge of a dense forest, windows boarded, but you could still see faint outlines of stained glass and graffiti. As we walked in, it was like stepping into a forgotten memory. Dust covered everything, and the air, it didn't just smell old, it smelled wrong, like wet soil, burnt toast, and something metallic. I remember gagging. Then we all split up, just for a few minutes. Some stayed near the entrance, snapping photos, while I, driven by this stupid curiosity, wandered into what used to be the main dining area. That's when it happened. I heard a sound, silverware clinking against porcelain. My body froze. It wasn't distant. It was right there. And then, I saw it. A single candle flickered to life on a table in the corner. I swear it wasn't there before. The other lights, our flashlights, started flickering, but the candle burned steady. I felt this pull, like something inviting, or daring me to come closer. I took a step, then another. There, at the table, sat a woman, pale, still, wearing what looked like a waitress uniform from the 70s, only soaked, dripping wet as if she'd just crawled out of a river. Her hair hung limp over her face, but her lips were curled into a smile. Her hands rested on the table, and beside them was a single teacup. She looked up. Her eyes, God, they weren't eyes, just black, endless pits, like her sockets were burned out. And when she opened her mouth, it wasn't a scream. It was worse. She laughed, not loud, not manic, just a soft, rhythmic chuckle that made my knees buckle. I tried to scream. Nothing came out. I turned to run, but the floor beneath me seemed to stretch, like I was trapped in molasses, sinking deeper. That's when I felt a hand, ice cold, wrap around my ankle. I looked down, and crawling out from beneath the table were dozens of hands. Pale, disjointed, some with broken fingers, nails chipped or missing. They dragged at me, and behind them, shadows began to take form. Whispers filled the air, not in any language I knew, but I understood them. They were hungry, angry, and they didn't want me to leave. Then, suddenly, someone screamed my name. A flashlight beamed in my face. I blinked. I was back by the front door, gasping, drenched in sweat. One of the tourists, Raj, I think his name was, said he found me standing in a trance in the hallway, mumbling. No one else saw the candle, or the woman, or the hands. I told myself maybe I hallucinated. Maybe it was the dust, or the mold, or the adrenaline. But when I got back to the hotel and emptied my backpack, tucked in one of the side pockets, was a small, cracked porcelain teacup, stained red. I never packed that. I threw it into the river the next morning. But sometimes, late at night, when everything's quiet, I still hear the faint sound of silverware clinking softly, and that awful slow laugh echoing in my ears.